you don't mind, I'm going to move because we are a little too close for comfort. Yep, that's why. I wonder if the Soviets at one point was like, hey look, the Sherman is getting up armored, we will do the same. Hey guys, it's Jim here, and then welcome back to War Thunder. And my god man, after so long of grinding for the damn Sturmtiger and having to go through the trouble of making one at 6.3, I really got burned out by playing this game for a little bit, and you know what? I'm just gonna take out one of the tanks that I thoroughly enjoyed playing and then just bully the hell out of rank 2 low tier just to blow off some steam. And what better vehicle to do that than the T-34E STZ? That is basically a T-34 Jumbo. Now let me break it down to you and I will show you why I thoroughly enjoy this thing. Now first things first, armor. This is based off the T-34 1941 chassis, or basically design, anyway. So that means, like all T-34s, you have the 45mm plate right here that is sloped at 16 degrees. Pretty standard T-34 design, but since this is the T-34E STZ, you have an additional 15mm sitting on top of it, sloped the same way. So that means you have 16mm of armor sloped at 60 degrees and battle rating 4.0. Yeah, not a lot of guns can actually go through this, especially allied guns. I mean, to be honest, allied guys can't even go through the regular T-34 anyway. So my bigger focus is German guns, and not a lot of them can actually go through this at their battle rating. But unfortunately, tanks like the Sturmgeschütz 3G and the Hetzer and the Panzer 4H, they can definitely go through this. Their penetration is a little bit higher than any other Panzer force. But the good news is that what you can do is angle and maybe keep a distance a little bit. You'll be surprised at what kind of rounds you can bounce with this alone. And then moving on, we have this plate right here, 75mm driver viewport window. Just nobody shoots this, let's be honest. Even from day 1 T-34. Despite the fact that some of them don't really have that kind of armor. Let me show you. Yeah, not all the T-34's driver hedge are ridiculously thick. Just beware of shooting this anyway because it's an overlap here. But anyway, nobody shoots the driver viewport because, oh my god, go away Gaijin. It's usually 75mm thick at 60 degrees, so yeah, nobody wants to shoot this at all. And now moving on, like the Sherman Jumbo, this used to be the weak spot. 60mm right here, but this is a bit dangerous because it's a very small window. If you don't land your shots right, it's going to glance. And worst case scenario, it glances inward and hit this. Now this used to be the weak spot because this used to be only like 60mm and 0 degrees whatsoever. But now they bothered to add the bulbous machine gun port right here. So that means you're shooting, yeah, 144mm right here. And then moving on, when you angle, this is something you need to be careful of, is your side armor. Unlike your front plate, you don't have add-on armor right here, so this is 45mm right here, and 40mm up here. So if you angle, they have a better chance of penetrating this than this. So what you can do is you can try and hide your half of your tank right here, maybe about here instead, so that when they see this, they don't really have the instinct to shoot your side hull, and try to bait them into shooting this instead. And then rear armor is nothing much to look at, it's only 40mm, even though there's a lot of like transmission, engine, and fuel tanks, radiators, etc. all behind here. Just the unfortunate part when you're playing this thing, and something you need to be careful of, you don't exactly have a very strong turret armor. You only have 45mm right here, and unfortunately as armor goes, this is supposed to force the enemy to get up close to you, which is okay. Especially German guns where the advantage is long range. Bringing them up close to personal will give you the advantage because that is your gun's territory, which is short range. And unfortunately, if you're facing allied tanks, they are also something you need to be careful of because they know they can't pen this regardless of what type of T-34 you are. So they will definitely try to shoot your turret, which has a better chance. And unfortunately, they are right in doing so. And not to mention, since this is the 1941 turret design, yeah, as you guess, the gun breech is sticking outside of the turret. So that means they can easily knock it out as well, just by shooting this. And of course, I have to mention this. I did mention about how weak the turret is. If you see me bounce any shells, that's because either they shoot this at a wide angle, or they shot me around here, which is an overlap. Seriously guys, why are you hitting me in the worst spots possible? It's really beyond me. And then moving on, you have 45mm at every angle. So that means you need to be careful when you're turning your turret. A lot of guys can punch through this. It really doesn't take much to do so. And then moving on, firepower. This is the standard 76mm F-34 cannon. And why do I say standard? This is pretty much that 76mm gun that you've been seeing since 3.7 all the way until 4.3, any T-34s in between. So like the T-34 1941, T-34 1942, as you can see in the exact same gun. The KV-1S, even though it's a ZIS variant, is basically firing the same shells, as well as the KV-1 ZIS, the 4.3 battle rating one. So that means 76mm will be firing this armor-piercing high explosive ballistic cap shell that bends up to 96mm of armor with 65 grams of explosive mass, or TNT equivalent 100 grams. So why do I use this shell? If I come across a Sherman at close range, this shell can penetrate the upper front plate. However, with volumetric now being a thing, that's something you need to be careful of because if you're literally just 1 meter too far away, like we're talking like freaking 400 meters or something, this shell won't go through it. But up close and personal, yes. But even so, as all Soviet APH-EBC goes, you have that ridiculous angle of penetration. Now you might be wondering, if you only have problem penetrating the Sherman, why not just use this? The less penetrating shell, because it really doesn't matter. Well, here's the thing though. At least this shell has a chance to penetrate the upper front plate of a Sherman. When you're up close and personal, this one does not. So that's something to be careful of. And I get it, 115 grams of explosive mass. It's actually a pretty tempting offer. But to be honest, from my experience, 65 grams is already enough to one-shot anything you look at. And then other shells, you have APE-BC that has a good angle of penetration and slightly more penetration than the APH-EBC. If I'll be honest, just use the APH-EBC, and if you want a higher pen shell, just use the APC for a rainy day. And then you have a machine gun, but it's at the mercy of the turret, and it's only a 7.62 machine gun. My advice: bring a few high explosive, just in case. And finally, a couple of smoke shells, just in case, maybe 5. It's just for you to ninja vanish your way out of a sticky situation. And moving on the other aspects of the gun, you can carry up to 737 shells, and to be honest, just bring as many as you want because they're all going to be crammed down here. It's not like, oh, the shells are sitting on the lap of the machine gunner, or the shells are in the back of the turret or anything. Just bring as many as you want. They're all going to be down here. It's really not going to make a difference if you bring more or less. Reloading rate. This is something you need to be careful of as well. Like most Soviet tanks at this battle rating, because of how small the turret is, the reloading rate is not really that great. I mean, right now it says 7.4 seconds, but that's mainly because I have maxed out weapon reloading and high level leadership, expert crew. That's why it's already now to 7.4 seconds. But here's the thing though, let me switch over to aviation so you can see the reload at stop. If you don't put any points in your crewman, your reloading rate can be as high as 9 seconds. Yeah, that is not exactly pleasant, especially when you come across Shermans and Panzer force who can reload as fast as 5 to 6 seconds. And then vertical guidance, -5 gun depression. This is just a Soviet tank, so what else is new? However, keep in mind that this is a 1941 turret design, so that means yes, that gun breech sticking out. And when does that matter again? As you can see, this wrist section back here on the engine deck. So what happens is that if you point the turret backwards over the engine deck, your -5 gun depression becomes 0. So that's something to be careful of. Always make sure your hull is facing the enemy. Targeting speed 22 degrees per second, that's actually pretty excellent. It's really good for approaching corners with. And finally, you don't have a gun stabilizer, but since this is a Soviet tank, I don't really care. And now before we get into the match, joining us today is the Yak-9B fighter. And if you're wondering, yes, this is that same Yak-9 that you play in Heroes and Generals. And how do I know? You can see the 4 100kg shells in the back right here. Wonder if I should make a video series where I take out tanks and planes that you can play in Heroes and Generals but in War Thunder instead. So why the Yak-9B of all Yak-9s? Especially since, you know, it's a alternate grind, you kinda have to go out of your way just to get it. Yeah, here's the thing though. Not only does it have a really decent armament for fighter purposes, when you pick this plane up, you don't even need to grind. And you can already carry up to 4 100kg shells. And now I get it, 100kg shells doesn't seem like it's a lot, but here's the thing though, the good news is that it's somewhere in the middle of the plane, so that means your bomb drop is a lot more accurate. Unlike the Yak-1 where, oh my god, the 100kg bombs are on the wings and a little bit far apart and they drop one by one. It's really annoying to aim with these. My god man, I really hated these things. So yeah, that's why I play this thing. I can dive in, dive out, and drop my 100kg shells no issues. And after I drop all my bombs, I can still do some fighter coverage or attack open top vehicles with ease. Just be careful that when you're playing this plane, you don't have a very good ammo count. Now let's get into battle and ruin low tier players' day. Depression for this. God damn it. There might be a plane. They did nothing, are you kidding me, game? swapping. Don't know how that worked. Nothing being cinematic on this guy looking at spawn. You're good, bro. You're good. Easiest to get ASU. Oof. I was worried about hitting the damn ESU. There's no one worried about though. There's a T-14 up ahead. Side. Come on, reload. There you go. Picture taken out. Because I didn't force him in. Is it him? Nope. Push. Oh. hear me. I don't know what to see in the situation. Come on. Do it. Are you even alive?
Thank you very much.
Do it. Is this even one here?
Attention to the designated grid zone.
No, he does not.
Attention to the designated grid zone. Let's keep the pressure on. Victory is close. Attention to the designated grid zone.
There we go. Alright, explosive door. There's actually someone I don't want to see at this range.
Let's keep the pressure on. Victory is close.
There we go. Over half our sights. Never fails. Yeah, there's some risk on going all the way out there. What the hell am I stuck on? Frontal armor, baby. Account for it.
Another zone captured. We have the advantage. Attention to the map.
Oh, get cover first. the hell did you not see me do?
Attention to the designated grid square! Attention to the map!
Hello.
The enemy's getting closer. Attention to the map!
This damn weather, man, I swear. I think there's somebody there. Why are they waiting for me?
Another zone captured. We have the advantage.
Ah, I got it off first. Suck it.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
Oh, this is perfect. Too perfect. I am so screwed. Come on, get the last bomb off.